for any trip hazards or any kind of hazards that can be blocking your way should you need to exit for an emergency. And I'll give you about 30 seconds to go over your safety evacuation / shelter-in-place procedures. All right, go ahead and get moving with this. So we had discussion topics to revisit from our previous meeting. Does anybody remember the vault library maintenance discussion that we were having back in November? Spoiler alert, I don't. Okay, that person must not be on the call, so we'll pick that up on the next one.
Which one was that? I mean, were we talking about the was that the discussion we were having about the orphans and all that?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah, I was thinking that I could be wrong, but I was thinking that Steve said he was going to talk to them and see what they had in the works for that or something to that effect. I could be wrong on that.
You're absolutely right. That just actually rang my bell. Steve Kaufman, are you on the line?
Yes, I must have dropped the ball on that one. I don't remember needing to do that. So one thing that the new release in February, the bus in the wire, when you delete an item, it will delete the file as well. The newest version now is deleting the file for cable. But I'll make sure I make a note of it.
Hey, Steve, when you were out here, we also talked about one of the updates with the was the ability for it to update the cabling and things. So maybe that'll save from having so many orphans.
Yes, and that's what I mean by the when you delete the cable or update the cable, it will. When you update the cable, it will update the same cable. It won't draw a new one. When you delete the cable, it will delete the file as well.
That's in the new release, right?
The current newest release should delete the cable as well. Every release, we should see that in the bus work.
That's a pretty good way to state that. Follow up with you, Steve, in January on the January call about the orphans left within Vault.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, so toolkit topics. We had an issue, QA checks don't produce a report that doesn't show user in the model where the defect is. There was an email chain from that, and I don't have it on me. But that was Kelly and Curtis. You guys were talking back and forth about that. So where did you guys land on that issue?
Well, Curtis replied back with a fix for it, and I couldn't get my properties to name it correctly because I said there was actually two issues. The naming was not corresponding to the model pieces or parts. And also, when you run that check, if you could click over on the results, this is something that came up in the training. If we could click on the results and it would highlight the part over in the model so you could track down what you're looking for. It would just be an easy, easy search for you, especially when you get into some larger ring bus and you're trying to go through and find that piece of tubing that may not be, maybe an issue. Being able to associate the results to the model itself would be highly beneficial. And when I was talking to John about it in the training, he said, that might be something for the consortium to look at. Maybe other people are running into that same problem too.
Okay, got that captured. Does that look good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
If you could tie in the email that shows kind of what we were discussing, if somebody wanted to look into this and see how it relates.
Okay. I'll formulate an email and send that off to Steve, Trevor, and Dan, and I will CC Kelly and Curtis.
Thank you.
Sound good? All right. Any other questions or comments on this topic?
I just wonder if any of the other utilities are using that.
Is anybody using the design checks with the toolkits that's on this call at this point?
Okay.
Silence means no.
We're special.
Well, Duke Energy stood on that bleeding edge sword for a long time, so welcome to the club.
Well, with me being new to the group and just chasing parts, I haven't really got my hands into all the software until this training, and so maybe I can pitch in on some of these calls going forward as I learn a little bit more. I just would listen in on a lot of these chats that y'all would have, not really understanding where you're coming up with some of the questions and problems. So.
Oh, you're making it there now. Quickly.
We'll try. I got a lot to learn.
We all do still. Okay, so next on the list is enhancement request came in from Michael Chasser. Michael is not going to be able to be on the line, and I sent the request off to Trevor, and I haven't gotten feedback on it yet. So Let me make a note to myself here. I'll do the same for the other one. So that one was to add a rigid bus cutting schedule tool, and then this one was to see, a tool for properly handling the bus expansion fittings to depict them more accurately.
Jeremy, I don't mind it if you copied me on your correspondence with Trevor on these two things, because I'm not quite sure what's being asked here.
Okay, will do. Let's see.
Something else that came up on that, Jeremy, when you do the QA, and it's on that screen clip, you can see that there's a length condition of 2.7 feet, and I believe John sent an email to Trevor about this expansion coming back with such a small length. Typically, you're not going to run into the thermal expansion problem on such a short span. You know, you're going to be looking at 27 feet instead of 2 feet. And it's generating these short lengths, and I don't know how far John got with Trevor on that, but you might make a note about the short lengths on the bus thermal expansion. Should not be showing up. All right. Any questions on any of that stuff? Or comments? Okay. Now moving into the fun stuff. So we have a YouTube channel now. Let me go ahead and pull that up. So let's see. Get that out of the way. So here's the YouTube channel. If you go to our group site here, I actually put the link right there. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the channel. What we're going to have here is recorded online meetings. So our meeting from November is already on there. In fact, I think that's the only thing on there right now. We'd also like to put up like tips and tricks videos, so if any of you come up with any good tips or tricks that you want to create a video for, let's get them uploaded there so we can share them throughout the group. It's also a place to put the videos that we want to link to, either from our site and from best practice documents or anything really. Does anybody have any questions on this? Okay, so basically you can go out and, if you're logged into YouTube, you can subscribe to it and then just select that you want to get updates. So anytime you put something on there, you'll get notified for it, things like that. If you want something on there, just send it to Josh and I, and we'll get it uploaded. And then create a link and send you the link to put either on the website in your document, both, whatever. And we'll go from there. I know we do have a tips and tricks forum,
So if it's like a tip or trick, then we can just, you know, put another post within that forum, and we'll link it there. Any questions?
No.
All right. Everybody's pretty familiar with YouTube, so. All right, so best practice documents. So again, the forums are out on the website. I know that there hasn't been a whole lot of comments on most of these. Some of them have been generating comments, which is great. Like to see more generation of comments across the board. This is really going to help our effort leaders to really formulate a good best practice document. I'm going to take this time now to turn it over to our best practice document leaders so that they can talk about what they've got going on, what they need, and solicit any advice or comments, suggestions. I know that some of our leaders aren't going to be on the line, so it shouldn't take us that long. So we'll start at the top of this list here. So we've got the first set's going to be the ones that we accepted and are in final review from our face-to-face meeting. So we want to try to get these closed out this month if we can. So Curtis, you are up first with cleaning out local workspace.
Okay. Yeah, on that one right there, you know, I've really been cautious with that one because as we progress through what we're doing here, our local workspace, some of the things that are in there have changed, and I've been reluctant to say anything because, you know, what I would have thought would have been the plan to begin with wouldn't work now because of the way the configurations and things that are brought over from Vault. So I'm on the fence whether or not we need to keep on with that one because I could recommend something that would work for us, but it may not work so well for someone else, depending on how they have their workspace customized.
No. You have that out on the forum, correct?
I'm sorry. Say again. You're talking about the what I just said? No.
Yeah. Then my suggestion would be go ahead and write up your recommendation for what works for your app, and get it out on the forum, and then we'll solicit more feedback on that and see where we get with it and what other people are doing, and maybe we can find out if it's a common method or if it would only work for you guys or whatever. So if we need to, you know, if it turns out that everybody really needs something a little different, then maybe we dial it back some or just take it off the table altogether.
Okay.
So, look good?
That looks good.
So then the next one on the list is going to be Z-axis up and how to orient the Z-axis when you receive a model from a vendor. And this would be Eugene.
Yeah, Jeremy, I went ahead and wrote up the document based on the format that was out there, but I haven't had a chance to post it yet. And I was also in the process of creating a new video to go along with that document to post out there, and I need to get those out there.
Look good?
Yep, look good.
Cool. All right. Jeff is not on the line, so look good, Jeff? Yes, it does. Okay, thanks. All right, so next we got the URD cable from BOM info and installation. So that's going to be Steve Mattingly. Steve or Steven? Always screw that up. I know I do.
Either's fine. I'll respond to either. I think one of the questions I probably have is, should I reformat it from PowerPoint into a Word document instead? And then I need to take a look at one of the latest install for SDS and see, add in some information about custom iProperties. It looks like that's a possibility within that. So if I get through that, I should be able to get a finished document.
I would suggest, there we go, putting it into a Word document. And then if you wanted to create some sort of a video or anything to go along with it, that's fine, and link back to it. But the Word document's really going to help us with creating like a standard format for these.
Okay.
Do you have the Word document template?
Yes, I do. I think I got started, and then I just, for the consortium meeting, it just made more sense to have a PowerPoint. So I just need to take that and get it into the Word document and add a little more detail.
Okay. Look good?
Looks good.
All right. Let's see, is Mark Thomas on? Oh, he's not. Okay, and Michael Chester is not going to be on, so. Okay, so this is the current ongoing efforts. that we said we wanted to continue with the investigation and development of. Curtis, you're up again. And this is the part model design, visual fidelity, complexity of parts and/or assemblies, faces, edges, etc., degrees of freedom, levels of detail, etc.
Yeah, I still need to work on the document a little more on that because it was so much to add into it. For that one and I'll just add in for the next one too. It's the same case. I just need to complete the documents.
Look good?
Yep, looks good. And you just put that under the next one as well. I figured that would probably be as good as it could be. I didn't think y'all would buy into the dog ate my homework routine.
Yeah, I think we're a little past that one. Okay, and this would be our new co-chair. So Josh, you're up for inventor performance issues resolutions. And did you have a backup on yours?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So I posted basically a Word doc on the forum and stuff like that, and right now I'm looking for feedback to add or change or whatever on it. I know I got some feedback from Steve on both the two that I'm working on and stuff like that. So just looking for feedback and stuff like that on what more to add or change and stuff like that, what I got there.
That look good?
Yep, and the same thing for the next one.
That's the multi-level site grade substation assembly. All right, and I actually have the form pulled up. Is anybody on the call familiar with that with either of those two efforts, the multi-level site grade substation or the inventor performance issues resolutions efforts?
Josh,
Okay.
I think Josh, it's Steve. Did I give you something on the multi-level, on elevations?
Yep. I have your email and stuff like that. I just didn't, because I was waiting for other to see if I got other feedback and stuff like that to add any of that to it. But yeah, okay. I have your email.
Good.
So the document that Josh was talking about is located right here. You can link to it. It's linked right in the forum. This one's the multi-level site grade best practice document. You can go pull that document down, review it, and then post any comments on this forum or bring your comments to the January meeting. There's a little bit more information all the way down through here too. I don't know why that picture isn't showing up. And then the same goes for the inventor performance substation design. There's a document, and then there's no responses yet on this one. So if you could get out there and check it out, take a look at it, and get them some feedback over the next month, it would definitely help with his effort for sure. Every best practice effort that we've got going, There is a forum out there for it, and they all, we went through and cleaned up all of them, so they all start with best practice, and then the best practice effort, and then the person that's leading it, or the person that's leading it and their backup. So please go out there and take a look at all these, because there's no way that we can really formulate a great utility voice behind any of these best practices if only, you know, one or two individuals are participating and offering comments. Okay, so moving on to the next one, side-by-side installation of SD toolkits for multiple versions of Inventor. I can't believe I don't have a name on there, but I thought that was Steve, right? Mattingly?
That's me. Yeah, and then I think Mike is also backup. So far, I'll probably have to take what I had for the PowerPoint, reformat that into Word, and also any feedback I can get from others on, you know, are they working with multiple platforms at the same time because they started a project in one compared to another, or if it's more of a consultant issue in particular.
Like we
any
had
feedback
our
on that would be nice.
switches and stuff like that. The spacing on this structure is different from the Hughes town. I had to create another subassembly with different.
All right, that'll fix that. Sorry. Let's see. So we need to take the PowerPoint and transfer it into the Word document. Still looking for more feedback from the community. About who has gone up against this. Did I capture that pretty well?
So yeah, that'll at least give me an idea of, you know, is it as big of an issue for one or the other, and then yeah, just any feedback anybody can provide me if they've come across any stumbling blocks doing it or whatnot.
Let's see. Where did I put that? Copy that. So Mike Chasser's not here. It looks like, wow, Terry's actually missed one on us. I'm gonna have to call her and find out if she's okay. Can't remember her ever missing one. All right, well, that's going to take care of that. And that. Again, though, there's forums out there, so if you go out there and put some input into them, so that those individuals can work on those best practices as well. More feedback, the better. Okay, so we got the 3D model cleanup, and that's going to be Steve and Mike. Well, since we got Steve at least, we've got Steve and Mike have agreed to QC the existing cloud content. And then you guys were going to create some sort of a document to go along with how best to go about cleaning those up. Was that correct?
I'll have to get with Mike on that one because I only had just passed him an email yesterday about finding a best platform to kind of work on the parts. So I'll have to follow up with him on that. But yeah, we need some methods, a checklist, stuff of that sort to be able to say, okay, this part based off being a terminal needs these particular work features, make them intelligent, and then whatever extra intelligence that needs to come from the part model, what was it called? an inventor that SDS has for kind of classifying the part, or in the case of like insulators, making them so that they'll take out the section that's insulated. Some of that as well. One of the big things I'm still trying to get an answer on is, it'll probably be from SDS, is what type of a checkout process can we get in place to copy the content out so that we can begin work on it, and then another process to get it checked back in. I think the part library is a couple hundred, if not close to 1,000 parts. So I'd rather not have to go in and check out or save out every single file. If there's a way to get them copied out on their side and then over to something that we can work on, that'd be great. And then probably from the community, it would be if anybody has come across parts that aren't consistent with what they're supposed to be, if they could at least note in the comments as to which ones they are, and if they can provide a cut sheet or a link to a cut sheet, then we can, as we start going through the QC, we can check against that, make the parts more accurate. And probably more help too, because if we have to edit all these drawings or all these parts, there's a little bit of legwork in opening them up, editing them, and checking them back in. So people see a lot of benefit from the cloud library. Any help would be greatly beneficial.
Yeah. That's what I thought. All right. Does that look okay?
Yep.
All right. Okay, moving on to any questions or comments around that? Anybody? Okay. All right, so new efforts. We've got content center parts, and that's going to be Krista Coate. Are you on the line? You are not. Okay. Obviously, Mike is not. Alright, so the next one is going to be iLogic, and that's going to be Justin Ayer and Mary Pylon. I know Justin's on the call. I don't see Mary though. So go ahead, Justin. Floor is yours.
All right. I haven't gotten too deep into the document yet, but I was going to make the main concept of it as kind of just a brief overview of what iLogic can do, and kind of a couple quick little tips and tricks on how to get started on using it. There's the forum out there. If you guys have any comments for what you want to see in the document, how you like it guided a little bit. And that's what I was going to try to take the document on. So open to suggestions, trying to take it a different way if you guys would like it redirected a little bit.
Look good?
Yep, guess that works.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on this one? All right. So next, looks like Steve, you're up again because Terry is not here. So conduit and grounding.
All right. Yeah, we got a document started. It looks like Terry has a lot of information she's compiled for some of the tutorials that she's done for other events that we should be able to format into what we need, and then add additional information to it. Maybe go into a little bit more depth as to how each tool works. It could be videos or something like that linked. So still pretty much right at the beginning, but I've definitely got something started.
Look good?
Yep.
Anybody have any questions or comments about this? All right. So next is discuss workflows among utilities. So any pressing issues or hurdles, enhancements, suggestions, etc. I'll start off. I'm going to go down the list of them at the top. So here at Duke Energy, we went through that whole re-implementation. We're finally coming up on first quarter of 2017, turning a new production vault over to the enterprise. and getting our users in there and finally doing some production jobs under the new workflow and standards that we have in place. We finally got the documentation all wrapped up content-wise. We're still working on the grammatical / formatting of them. We got a few other efforts we're working on too, like some checklists, which may actually lead into helping you, Steve, on the 3D model cleanup stuff. So probably get some of that information circulated to see what can be used or if we can even make improvements on our end. That's kind of where we're at right now. I'm still building out some of the different things for Vault, such as the content center libraries. We're creating a Phantom library and a purchase library, so you only have to really use that standard when you want to pull like nuts, bolts, washers, things like that out. Setting up our steel so it comes through with the right material call outs, all that stuff. And then from that point, having that in place, checklist in place, and the documents issued, that's when we'll turn it over and have people working in the new production vault. We're also working on formulating a transition plan for the 2 regions who were previously working on their own, so that we can try to get some of their stuff moved forward into the new production environment, the enterprise production environment. So it's kind of where we're at this point. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the lot of information I said in like 2 seconds? Okay, so we'll go ahead and start next one down the list. Andrea.
Yes.
I know you're more IT than the production side of it, but you're on my list.
Okay, was that for the workflows?
Yep. Any pressing issues or hurdles you're running into, enhancements, suggestions, whatever?
No, we're working on some things to get a new production vault set up and doing some more work with getting some extra life cycles and all that and categories, and just kind of playing around with more of what we're going to have for our standard as far as a Burns and Mac vault, and then what we're going to have for the content centers for each client and everything, but nothing really pressing issues or hurdles right now.
Sounds good. All right. And then moving on to Eugene. I know you guys have been in training this week.
Yeah, we just finished up our process training and some other types of training. No pressing issues yet. I'm curious though as to, is there anyone out there have used shrink-wrapped assemblies particularly successfully with the toolkit? And how do those work with the design checks? Have there been any issues that anyone has come across?
I use shrink wrap. It's Steve Kaufman calling here. I use shrink wrap exclusively especially for design check. When you were doing that training, Eugene, I showed you some stuff on shrink wrap.
Yeah, particularly as a multi-body part.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeremy, that's about it. We just finished our training, and that's where we are right now.
Okay. I didn't want to sit there and type all that, so I'm running out of room. So I'm just taking notes here. But we can go ahead and move to Josh Clark.
Here at PPL, we've kind of got our greenfield plan kind of in our workflow in place. We got a couple jobs that we're running through that. I currently kicked off our first brownfield project, so I'm kind of playing around with how we're going to get our as-built condition and stuff like that started. with a model, because obviously we don't have anything. So I got to get as built, and then how we're gonna go about the whole workflow for doing a brownfield project. So currently working on that. Yeah, and just kind of update. We're getting more and more of our people involved and stuff like that. So just kind of getting them up to speed on our whole process and stuff like that.
All right. I'm still writing notes from Eugene's. So next on the line, it's my buddy Chip. How are you, Chip?
Hey, Jeremy, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm peachalicious.
Well, good to hear. We have nothing to add to that. We've had no changes or anything going on with that. So I have nothing.
Okay, next on the list would be Mr. Curtis.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. One, when Steve was out, like he said, he showed that. I'm going to follow up with Eugene's, and I've been playing around with that too, and I still see some issues where, I'd like to see how that's being done. If someone could create a video and show us exactly how that works, where once they get these multi-body shrink wraps out to the project level, and say the designer has to make some changes. And I'd like to see how that's being handled. How are they making these changes, say to like a structure or a switch or something that has more than one or two changes? I mean, I could see that being a big mess. So that's one thing I would love to see a video on, or some kind of demo on, if someone has a workflow for that. And the other thing, sitting here listening to you talk about what you guys are doing, Jeremy, and I was just looking back through some notes and things. I don't see anything in here. I think it would be a good idea for us to have. We have a lot of things on here about what to do, but one thing I don't see is a lot of what not to do. And maybe this is not a good thing to throw into the workflows part of it, but I would like to see a document out there, or something out there, an area where especially for you guys at Duke, where y'all can say, here's what we did and here's why it didn't work, to maybe keep some other people from making those mistakes.
You have a lot.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you'll have that document ready next week?
Oh, if I started that document right now, it wouldn't be ready next week. We've been on this bleeding edge since the beginning, so what, yeah. 2007? Yeah. Well, we went down a lot of wrong roads. And it's finally nice to be on the right one, and to have other people out here with us, rowing along next to us, instead of being out in the sea by ourselves.
I know that coming from manufacturing, we implemented Inventor Vault way back in the beginning, when Inventor Vault was new. And I was part of that process, and crashed the vault, and done all kind of damage, and had to come back and clean it all up. And I could write some things that I think, some don'ts, but it probably wouldn't apply to the utilities. But I think that would be a good thing to have out there, so people could look and see what mistakes were made. Because a lot of times I think people learn more about mistakes than they do just saying, hey, you do it this way and no other way. And it's a better example if we have something that says, here's what we did and here's why it didn't work.
So you're going to lead that effort?
I could, but most of my stuff would be based around manufacturing. I'm new to utilities, so it would, but I could definitely start it.
Yeah, I'll get a form going out there, and then we'll anybody that's run into issues like that, I think that's a good idea. We should get that moving. So I'll create a form out there for what not to do, and I'll get my buddy Jake to wordsmith that better.
sure you guys have a plethora of information on that. I mean, you know, y'all, like I said, you're on the bleeding edge, so you've obviously learned some definite things we don't need to do.
That we have. We actually, I think before you came into Southern Company, my group had actually met up with John Thomas and Jeff Cowgill and quite a few others there, Bill Gordon. I think we had all in all, it was about 12 of your people. Before you guys ever even thought to pull the trigger, just kind of was dipping your toe in the water, and we unloaded a whole list of whatnots, of all the whatnots to do. But yeah, I totally agree. I think it's real helpful. One thing we want to do though is try to be careful not to scare people off either, but kind of treat it more as like a guidance rather than throw all this out there, all the bad stuff, and just say, hey, you know, this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? So, because I got some feedback like that from our last face-to-face meeting. I talked about quite a few things that you know, you shouldn't do, and issues that we had run into. And one of the guys spoke up there. He said, "You're kind of scaring me off from doing this. I was just, you know, thinking about moving forward with this, and then I hear all these things about what I shouldn't be doing." So we need to be careful in how we word it, I think. But I'll get Jake to wordsmith the name of that, and then we'll get that forum rolling. And then I'll put you and me as the leaders on it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, I know we're running out of time, so did you have anything else, Curtis?
No, that was it.
All right. And then, so next on the list is going to be Justin. Are you on mute?
Oh, yeah. I don't have anything at this point.
Okay. Kelly.
I don't have anything to add.
Then we got Matt.
Nothing new to add, but this has been chock full of interesting things.
Steve?
Yeah, I can add the, Steve Kaufman or Steve Manley?
Steve Kaufman.
Yeah, okay, it's Steve Kaufman, yeah. With SDS, we're going to be rolling out in the first quarter of the new year some online training. And you'll be able to go online and look at some best practices for substation modeling based on the substation modeling strategy. And then it will be 2 days on the toolkit itself, above ground tools, below ground tools, and the substation tools. So in the new year, we should have that rolled out, and that'll be found on the substation.com site. So I think that's exciting.
So anybody that purchases a toolkit will have access to that, is what you're saying?
I need to clear that with Trevor, but I think that's the intent, but I wouldn't say that positively.
Okay. I'll tell him that has to be a that's my condition. No, that's good though. It's been needed for a long time. You know, as you know, a lot of the information that's been out there, it's old, dated, and it definitely needed a nice shine put to it, especially with all the updates that we've already had in the toolkit since the last time that stuff was created or updated. So, no, that's really good news, actually. You're looking early 2017 or mid 2017, you think?
The first quarter.
First quarter, nice.
It is tough to keep this stuff up to date with the number of people we have and the number of hours we're putting in. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even all the way back to the automation force side, it's like You guys have always been a skeleton crew. Okay, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's all I have right now.
Okay. Next on the list is Steve Mooring.
Just to add to Curtis's topic of what not to do, I think your group actually did a good job of creating some of that built into the workflow and our checking processes, where some of that stuff is kind of canceled out of what not to do
Right.
by our process. So that's all I have as far on the Duke end.
All right. And then Steve Mattingly.
Doing a little bit of rendering from what we've put into SDS, so it's definitely a new direction and not a whole lot of information based on. So we're quickly modeling a substation and then utilizing 3D Studio Max to generate renders from. So
Nice. You've never done that before?
oh, it's new to me. I've used 3D Studio Max back when I was in college, but it's been a few years since then. So
Yeah, me too.
Issues I've had so far is just material sizes, finding a best way to handle that, plus knowing the units within 3D Studio Max so everything plays nice.
I'd be curious to see how that progresses.
No, seems to be coming more and more frequently, so yeah, I'll keep everybody informed.
All right. Well, we are 5 minutes over. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So we'll just call that as our roundtable too. We didn't make it to discuss toolkit and/or inventor functionality needs and wants. Just some carryover that we had, though. I'll go through it real quick. So documentation, Steve kind of hinted at some possible training coming up first quarter from SBS, so that's going to help with that. Rotate for assembly, not just part. My properties need to update when bus is replaced. Credit system for shared parts. Conduit point-to-point instead of sketch to install. Conduit doesn't give length. 3D model cloud fog site. 3D content doesn't search very well and needs enhancements. And topic surrounding how the toolkits handle molds and shots. This was actually a pretty big one because this affects everybody. Typically the mold to shot ratio could be anywhere from 3 molds per shot to, or 3 shots per mold to 50 shots per mold. So need to have an ability to adjust that ratio depending on what mold you're going to be using. Yeah, so that covered both of those. Do we have any other questions around any of that stuff? This is all stuff that I'm still following up with Trevor on. It's been pretty busy with trying to deal with the rollout for, I think, February they're shooting for the new toolkits. So I haven't gotten a whole lot back from him on this stuff, but I will keep pressing him on this. So other than that, if we have no more questions, if anybody has anything else they'd want to bring up, now's your time. All right, so we'll go ahead and end this one now, and just want to say thanks everybody for all your hard work and involvement over this last year. I look forward to what we're going to do in 2017. We've moved quite a bit further last year than we did in 2015, or this year than we did in 2015. So it looks like we're going to continue to grow and build them. So I'm very excited about that, and I look forward to what we're going to do. So everybody, please have a good, safe holiday season. If you get some time off, hope you get a chance to relax and enjoy. And aside from that, that's all I've got. So you all have a good rest of your year, and we will catch you all in January. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.